Hello everyone, my name is Paul. I want to share with you how I got Blue Iris to communicate through an MQTT broker to my MQTT enabled smart devices, specifically light switches in my home. I had a goal. It started out with just wanting Blue Iris to turn on my garage lights when the garage camera through Blue Iris was triggered and created an event. So how to do that? Went down a rabbit hole. I won't explain everything, but I figured out how to get Blue Iris to control my MQTT enabled smart devices directly without having to use a third-party software such as Home Assistant or any other variation thereof, because for me it was overkill. I don't use or need Home Assistant. I have just a few switches and a few outlets that are running as smart devices. I control them from my smartphone, but I wanted Blue Iris to do this. And the only protocol Blue Iris currently has the ability to interface with is MQTT. So this video assumes a few things. First, it assumes that you're already running Blue Iris and you're familiar with that and will know your way around it. The second, it assumes that you're familiar enough with your PC and familiar enough with software that you can download an MQTT broker such as Mosquitto, download it and install it on your Windows operating system. And in my case, I installed Mosquitto on the same machine that I have Blue Iris running. So they coexist on the same Windows 10 box. Um, this allows me not to have to spin up a VM instance or run a virtual machine. They coexist. Mosquitto is lightweight. It doesn't impact the CPU utilization at all, and it's a perfect solution. Third assumption is that you know how to configure smart devices on your home network. So typically, you sync up to its hotspot with your smartphone, tell the device how to get on your Wi-Fi network, and you're off and running. So that's an assumption as well. What I did is for my smart device, I went with a three-way switch. I need a three-way switch for my garage lights from Martin Jerry. Martin Jerry comes preloaded with Tasmota, which is a very popular MQTT firmware that can be flashed onto several manufacturers of smart devices that use a common chipset. But in this case, Martin Jerry comes with preloaded Tasmota on their products. So, perfect solution. That way you don't have to get out, jumper pins and or solder USB leads onto your device. Comes preloaded, 17 bucks. You're off and running, no headaches. So, purchased one of these, installed it, got it on my Wi-Fi, on my LAN, and we got to do a couple things. So once you've got that done, we use a web browser to get into the configuration of the MQTT enabled smart device. We go to configuration. There's just a couple things you need to do. Go to configuration. Let me start over on that. So here's the main menu. Go to configuration. Go to configure other. And really, on this three-way switch, you don't need to change the template. There's a whole background in that as well. Simply give it a device name. In this case, you'll see that it's garage_lights. Also give it a friendly name. In this case, it's the same thing. It works. I don't know if why the need for different names. I never bothered looking into it, but they're the same and it works. All right, once that's done, go back to configuration. Now we're up to configure MQTT. So assuming that you got Mosquitto up and running, and I will put a couple links to configuration videos, YouTube configuration videos for Mosquitto. One walks you through how to configure or change the config file to get Mosquitto running. Another video that I'll put up or make a link to talks about how to configure the user authentication in Mosquitto. and that I have enabled as well. Um, so back to the smart device in the MQTT parameters, we're going to put in the IP address of my server. In this case, 10.31.0.40. Leave the port the same. Port for MQTT by default is 1883. If you're going to run user authentication, which you don't have to, but if you are going to run it, put in your username, put in the password that you configured previously in your MQTT broker, uh, and give your device a topic. In this case, my topic is garage lights. Now, I'll trust that you'll do your own reading and learn how to the MQTT protocol on your own, but basically the topic is the device identifier. So when a broadcast or a subscribe or a publish message goes out and this device is subscribed to that topic, it'll pay attention to that message and understand that whatever commands or subscriptions are being broadcast are for that device. Okay, enough said on that. In this case, just remember for this example, the word is garage lights, one word, all lowercase. Okay, with that being said, let's go over to Blue Iris. And let's get into the Blue Iris. Let's get into the Blue Iris configuration. And I'm going to start with the server configuration. Okay. So you get into the Blue Iris settings for the server, and you go to Digital I/O and IoT. Look for the MQTT configuration access, and this is pretty straightforward. Enable the MQTT server. If one doesn't exist, put in a client ID. In my case, I just put in Blue Iris and the server address. Now you'll notice that in my case, because the broker, the MQTT broker and Blue Iris are running on the same Windows 10 box, I chose to use the local host address. I did try it with the static IPv4 address for the network interface. That worked as well. But you know, if they're on the same machine and they're not separated by the virtual instance or something like that, you can use the local host. My login name and my password. As long as those match my broker, Blue Iris will connect to it. And oh, one thing I wanted to show you is to verify that Blue Iris is talking to your MQTT broker, push the test button down here, and you'll see that Blue Iris will send out some publish messages. Specifically, it'll send out a message. We scroll up, it'll send out a message publishing a test message. And we can see that if we use the MQTT X software app. So MQTT-X is simply a piece of software that allows you to connect to your broker and do manual testing, manual commands. You can publish and receive all the MQTT messages that are taking place on the network. I use a wildcard. You can break down to specific publish messages or command messages, or you can just use a wildcard. In my case, this wildcard just shows me everything that's happening on my network. So the last one that came through was that test message from Blue Iris. All right. So that being said, that's your server settings. So once you've got that in place and your test shows that you're connected and you're talking to your broker, let's get into the camera settings. So in this case, I want to set up my garage camera to send a command through the broker to my garage switch to turn on the lights. So let's get in the camera settings. Let's go to alerts. Now this is an assumption that you already know how to do all of Blue Iris recordings, triggers, your schedules, that you're perfectly familiar with Blue Iris. So let's go to alerts. Let's go to actions. So on an alert action, we're going to add an event. In this case, it's going to be an MQTT event. So we can hit the plus sign, choose web request or MQTT, but because I already have one, I'm going to get into the edit mode. As you can see, I called it garage lights. Okay, here's your profiles. Don't need to get into that. That's something you need to learn about Blue Iris on your own. You're going to choose MQTT topic from the pull down. You can do HTTP, HTTPS, or MQTT topics. Now remember the topic that I told you was configured on our smart device, in this case garage lights, one word lowercase? Well, the whole string, in order to send a command to that particular switch to turn on the lights, is a command uh, message, CMND / garage lights / power. So basically you're saying, I'm sending a command to this topic / MQTT device, and here is the, I don't remember the proper term that they use to it, but basically this is what I want you to do. We're going to turn on, or we're going to manipulate the power setting of the device. Now the payload, there's only two payloads for power. It's either on or off. And in my case, it's on. So when a trigger event comes through, this is the action that takes place. Blue Iris will send a publish or a command message through the broker. It'll get picked up by the device, which has the mismatching topic, and it'll turn the lights on. Simple as that. Now, the opposite is true. When my trigger resets on my Blue Iris camera, I have a statement that turns off the lights. Same thing applies. Your description, set your profiles the way you want, and it's an MQTT topic, and the string is the same. Command / your topic, in this case it's garage lights, whatever you have configured in your device, and then lastly the control aspect, in this case power, and then the payload off. So when my alert resets, my lights go off. So simple as that. That's all you need to control or get Blue Iris to turn on your garage lights, or any light for that matter in your home. I even have one that turns on my office light here in, so I set it for like the hours of like 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. If I get paged for work and I stumble in my office, my camera behind me picks up the motion and turns on my lights for me. So it's a matter of convenience, or it could be a matter of security. In the case of my garage, it's security. If somebody comes in, breaks in through the window, my Blue Iris through the garage camera will pick up the motion. Or if you're running Code Project AI, you can get it to detect a person. Same thing. And through MQTT, through that magic, it'll turn on the garage lights, hopefully scaring away whoever just broke in to your garage. That's really the purpose why I wanted it. But the convenience of being able to turn lights when you walk into a room is good too. But anyway, getting to the point is you don't need a third-party piece of software such as Home Assistant to turn on one switch. If you've got a whole house full of smart devices, sure. I'm sure it has its practical use, but for my purpose, I'm talking 2 switches in my home, and it's overkill. But this way, Blue Iris directly through a broker to your smart device works great. So anyway, if you found this video helpful, just say, great video, whatever you want to do. If you didn't like it, you think I'm a moron, hey, that's good too. Anyway, thank you for watching, and have a good one.